The Beast of Tuksa, written by Trent Kanuga and Elizabeth Moon. Chapter 2. Unwelcome Guests. This inverted cabin-like structure was a wonder to behold. My head kept tilting to see it right side up. It was completely dilapidated. Time had beaten it down and nature had taken over. Its joists and beams barely held together, and the cottage hung suspended in the air by interconnecting roots that converged and coiled around and through its walls. The mist swirled below, hiding the depths of the abyss from view. Although the cabin was inverted, the doorstep rested curiously right side up. It was hard to wrap my head around what I was even seeing. Down by our feet, someone had placed a weathered mat which read, "Go away," in large burnt lettering. Barty snuffled at the rat hole in the door. "What do you smell in there, Barty?" I asked, crouching next to him to peek inside. It was dark and there wasn't much to see. Some broken furniture strewn about the interior, covered in what looked like years of dust and cobwebs. "Do you think we should knock?" I stood and turned to Oliff to ask. I reckon if anyone were home, they'd at least leave a light on, right?" He answered with a shrug, darted glances around us. I could tell he was a bit anxious about the noise and movements closing in on us, and Barty much more so. I leaned in for a closer look at the door as he hurriedly walked from one side of the porch to the next, giving it a quick inspection. Strange markings were burned into the wood beside the doorknob, a triangle with a creepy eye in it. Strange, unfamiliar runes lined the top of it. Anyone else would have taken it as a warning, but we were desperate. I ran my finger along the symbol to trace its lines. "What do you suppose this is all about?" I asked, pointing at the symbol. "Not sure. Never seen anything like it," Oliff replied. Rumbling thunder echoed in the distance, getting louder, and signaling that it was heading this way. We exchanged knowing looks, reading each other's thoughts. A storm would make it impossible to set up camp. The cabin would be our only chance of keeping dry for the night. "Well, I hope they're fond of unexpected guests," Oliff said as he shoved the door open with his shoulder. The wood had become so rotted that it twisted and fell clean off its hinges, landing with a loud boom, and sending plumes of dust out like dragon smoke. Just then the whole cabin began to light up with a faint, soft amber glow. "Geez, you don't even know your own strength," I snicker under my breath. "Guess we've just announced our presence." Oliff raised an eyebrow and held up a rusty door handle. "As good as a knock, wouldn't you say?" Oliff said with a shrug. "Before we all head in, watch these while I see what's what." He handed me his staff and machete. "What, in the rain? It's going to start coming down any minute," I said, swiping away at the drop of drizzle that had speckled my forehead. "You can sit right here outside the entrance. Should be plenty of cover till I'm sure it's safe. You saw what happened to that door. You step in there and the whole place might fall apart." Okay, I begrudgingly agreed. I trudged over to the entrance, shoulders slumped, with my head down. He probably couldn't see it, but I could still peek back inside of the cabin from where I was sitting. Thrilled and a little more than curious, I plopped down on the Unwelcome mat. I crossed my arms in silent protest. "You too, Barty," Oliff demanded. "You guys watch each other, okay?" Then he pointed his finger rapidly between the two of us. Bartolo was more than eager to comply, and he scampered over to where I was sitting. We stared at each other so close that our noses almost touched. When Oliff gave Bartolo a job to do, he took it very seriously. And the look in his eye told me I better not move. "Now I mean it," Oliff warned. "You two, stay put." He turned around slowly and stepped inside of the old dark cabin.